Von Graves, what's going down, bro?
Mike check. What's going on, man?
Yeah,
Emil's in the building.
finally getting the interview,
Yeah,
man.
for
I'm
sure.
excited, no
You know.
cap. So, I mean, how you been for real? I mean, I know we just talked about how you like just been as a whole.
It's just been good, man. Blessed, bro. Healthy. Probably the healthiest I ever been in
Yeah,
my life. Um, Happy. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a dope relationship, so happy on that end. I'm excited about my new project. I'm excited about just the new music and just this new spark. I have for music. You know what I mean? So I'm excited just for this next chapter, this next season. You know,
that's what's up. That's what's
straight
up.
up.
So, speaking of stuff you've been doing, I saw the Powernomics video, and as a matter of fact, I really seen it when I was chilling with Reese, the editor, the director.
Right.
Dude,
Tour
he's
Studios. Shout
crazy.
out to Tour
Yeah,
Studios.
yeah. Shout out Tour Studios. How'd you end up linking up with Reese and Tour Studios? Like,
Uh,
say, even before Powernomics.
so Reese, when we first moved into this studio, uh, I think Reese was one of the first videographers that we actually started working with. He shot the Mona Keisha video.
Mona Keisha with Master TV.
With Nasty V.
Nasty
Shout out
V.
to Nasty V.
Yeah.
So he shot that, and I think that was like the first time that we had ever worked together. And definitely wasn't the last, obviously, but um, just somebody that's just super dope, man. I love his commitment to his craft. Um, I love his flexibility and his openness to take, you know, uh, constructive criticism about stuff and be able to apply it. I like that he's always looking to how can he make his videos better. So he's always investing into new equipment and new softwares and stuff. And so anybody that's progressive and innovative and also pays attention to the details, is somebody that I like to work with for sure. So
All right. Yeah. So, so Powernomics. What does Powernomics mean? Actually, what
so
does that mean?
if so it was a reference to a book I read called Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. Highly recommend it for especially for our community, for Black folks, that are wondering how we can improve the quality of our communities, and of our neighborhoods. The book is really just a playbook, blueprint to how to build, how we can um, kind of rejuvenate and enhance, our environment, and our Black and brown communities, man, and how we can, be more competitive, even just from um, financial standpoint, being able to have more resources so that we can do more things. Um, I wanted to play on that. Obviously, that's like a really deep, dense topic, and so I wanted to shoot a video that kind of, not necessarily dumbed it down, because I don't even like the phrase of that, but simplified a lot of stuff, and then also exposed, I think, a lot of things that we don't talk about, when it comes to just our communities and stuff. It's not so much about that we don't have um, all the resources, even though that's true. But I think it also starts with just our mentality as a collective, um, how we work with one another, and how we build. And so if you haven't seen the video, um, it starts off with basically me doing a giveaway. I'm doing like a big drive, and I got people lined up, and we giving away food, and we giving away, you know, electronics, and we giving away, all kind of stuff. And the moment, we run out of things, or rather, the people get impatient, or the moment I take my eye off the ball, they basically just rob the whole place. Um, Go in and just take everything, take everything from me. Once they don't have anything left in the building to take, they start taking things from me, or asking for things like my watch and my glasses and my ring and all kind of things. Then eventually, when I don't have anything left to give them, they beat me up and they take stuff that I didn't give them, my shoes and my shirt and all of that. and so eventually, they turn on me and they actually want to kill me. So I think that it's a funny video, but also has a serious undertone to it that I think is just something that we need to talk about. I think that we also need to take accountability and be responsible for the way that we treat our neighborhoods and the way that we treat our businesses and stuff. Um, Trash all in the parking lots, or just not valuing black-owned businesses the same way that we value white-owned businesses and Asian-owned businesses, and even you know Arab-owned businesses, any other race outside of ours. It seems like we respect it a little bit more than we do our own. And so I just kind of wanted to show that, put a mirror up to especially the next generation, man, and see if we can hopefully change it for the better. So
That's dope. I was actually gonna ask you if that was a message you were trying to get in the video, and I don't know if you answered that or not. But
yeah,
what
yeah,
exactly
definitely.
would be the message?
The message, well, I just think it's, you can say yes, a million times, and people only remember that one time you said no. You know what I mean? And then they take that, and now you're a bad person, or you selfish, or whatever. They have something negative to say, even though you say yes to every other thing. The one time you say no to people, um, they turn on you. For some people, and so I really wanted to showcase that kind of mentality that people have, and I guess even maybe gratitude. And just being grateful for the people who are trying to build things in our communities, and instead of attacking it, we should be protecting that kind of stuff because it's all we got. So.
Oh, that's fire. Shoot, how long you been making music for?
Man, so for those that don't know, I'm actually I'm 30. Uh, yeah, I've been in the game for a minute. I've been doing music since I was 18, and like seriously since I was 18. I went to OU and started like my first label when I was 19, like my freshman sophomore year, and just kind of was just gung ho about it from there. Always had a passion for not just the music side, but also the business side of stuff too. Jay-Z is like one of my favorite, artists, and because of his approach to business as an artist, and I think it's something that's powerful and really important. Something I wanted to take away and wanted to apply to my career as an artist. I always wanted to be able to have control over my destiny. I didn't ever want to leave my future in the hands of other people, especially like labels and stuff, where they can just kind of tell you just sit in the studio all day and we're going to make all your financial decisions and tell you when you're going to tour and all of that. I never was with that, so I always was intentional about, just remaining an independent artist. And obviously that's the road less traveled. It's a lot harder to do it that way. You got to learn how to do everything. You got to learn how to do accounting a little bit. You got to at least have an idea of it. A lot of stuff artists don't want to do. They don't want to have to think about all that stuff. They just want to do music. But I think that the less you do want to do, the less you then should expect, I guess, from your product. You should have some sort of idea of how to run your own business. Every artist is a small business, whether they think they are or not. So you got to know how to. You already know how to produce your product, but you need to learn how to market and sell your product too. Um, and so yeah, so after college, I was just trying to figure it out. Took like odd jobs and stuff. I ended up moving to LA in 2015, 2016, and that's when I started working for the startup company. They basically developed apps, and it showed me a lot about the tech industry, and it showed me a lot about the potential tech had on the music industry and where I felt like music was going. And so I started Usic, and it originally started off as an idea, but I took a long break from music. I took like a couple years off because I really wanted to almost rebrand, I guess. I wanted people to take me serious as an entrepreneur, as somebody that was in the tech game, and I wanted to make sure that my message was clear as far as why I was starting music. I didn't start this company to make myself look good or to use it to blow my own career up. It was the opposite. I wanted to use, you know, my career and the experiences that I had to make the platform better and to make music better. You know what I'm saying? For all artists. And so, I felt like if I was still actively making music while I was trying to build my company, it would have kind of made it would have confused, the message of what I was trying to do. And so I took a long break to where, low key career suicide a little bit because a lot of people don't know that I make music, or so when they heard Powernomics and they over here like I didn't know that he could do that, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, and why hasn't he been doing that? It was always with a for a reason,
It's crazy because you have been doing that, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, man. And I'm glad that people finally, are able to see what I can do and stuff, man. And I think now it's just timing. Everything has always been timing. I think now we got our legs. As music has its legs, and it has its own base, it has its own life of its own.
Hey, real quick, you say Usic has his own life of its own. I'm not trying to take you away from what you were saying. What exactly is Usic? Because there's some people that think it's a record label. Some people think it's just a management company. What
Right.
what what exactly is Usic?
Music is a brand, man. It's a platform. So we're a recording studio, or rather a chain of studios, I guess. Um, we also do like concerts and showcases and stuff. We kind of operate like a record label where we do in-house production on stuff, but we don't sign artists. Our whole thing is just um, really allowing artists to be free and just really being a resource and a tool to artists. I think music is still kind of taking its shape because remember originally it was supposed to be an app that just kind of became something that actually involved real people and more around it. So it was a tech company merged with, I guess, a record label slash publishing company, um, and then they kind of merged together and then kind of created what you see now that's still evolving and still growing into what it's going to be. It's still going to be apps and tech, and it's still going to be uh, all of the above. I think it's a community. Music is a organized music community, I guess, for profit. I don't know.
No, that's dope. That's dope. Shoot, we can if we can go back to just talk about Von Graves. I want to know you met your I know you were talking about college, talking a little bit about stuff after college. I want to know about before that. What exactly was childhood like for Von Graves, and what exactly happened to turn Javon into the artist Von Graves?
So
Eventually Von Gogh. You know what I'm
right,
saying? So
right,
yeah,
exactly.
what was it like? What was your childhood like? Explain that to me.
Childhood was dope, man. I was the only child, so I don't have any siblings or anything. I got a lot of cousins though, and so my mom, she had me when she was 19. She was a freshman in college. She went to Ohio State, and so because she was so young and she was still in school, I moved around a lot. She would send me to Mansfield, which is really where I was born, Mansfield, Ohio, because that's where my whole family is from. That's where they all lived. So, I went there and I would stay at my grandparents, my granny, which is my dad's mom, and my grandma, which is my mom's mom. And they were like probably like 2 miles away from each other. So, I would be back and forth between there. I also had a great grandma down there that I would stay at, when my granny was at work. My father was in the military. Um, so, going out to Delaware where he was based at, sometimes, and then coming back. So I definitely I moved around a lot. I slept on couches and other people's beds, for pretty much my whole childhood. And then, once my dad got out the military, him and my mother got together. They didn't get married till I was like 10 years old, but had been together since high school. And they got together, and we finally kind of had more of like a semi-conventional type of family structure where I had two parents. And I ended up going to Westerville schools. And I was always in sports. I played football, basketball. I ran track for a little bit, but football and basketball, but basketball was always like, basketball became my favorite sport once I got to high school. Um, it was just something I was super passionate about. So all year round, I'm at camps, then AAU tournaments. Then it was time to get ready for the season. So now you're in training camp for the season. Then you have the actual season. Right after that, it was AAU again. So I didn't have room for music or anything. It was all basketball, really. It wasn't until my senior year where I didn't get the scholarships or the looks that I wanted. I had an opportunity to walk on at OU, and I chose not to. I chose to just be a regular student. I was burnt out with sports, and at that time too, I had just started getting into music and started really seeing like it was something that I actually wanted to do. I felt like, whereas sports, you height was mad important, especially with basketball. How fast you can run, all these physical things that some people gifted with, some people not. And I felt like with with music, I didn't have to be a certain height, and I didn't have to jump a certain height, or it was all creativity and it was all mental, and it was something that I felt like I can compete with anybody in the world on that note. You know what I'm saying? Just because um, I feel like I'm very creative, and I've always like English was my favorite class. It was the class I got the easiest A in, and so I'd always been a writer and always been a creative writer at that. So even when I went to college, um, that's what I ended up majoring in, was in English, and took a lot of like film courses and stuff like that that just kept me creative and kept me figuring out what I could learn that I can apply to my music. What writing structures and you know different learning about angles in film, and just anything, even the marketing courses and stuff. Just being able to take these classes and figure out how can I use this for me. You know what I'm saying, and not necessarily to get a job. I never did any internships or none of that, because I always had in my mind exactly what I was in school for, and it was to create my own job. To be an entrepreneur. It wasn't to go get a job, and so um, that was where it was at, man. And once I really got more momentum with the music, and I heard that I started gaining confidence when people started liking my music and they liked my voice. I would always hear that, like, you got a very unique voice, you got a dope voice, and that was all I needed to hear. You know what I'm saying? Once I kind of saw that I had the tools to really make it happen, it was just about mastering that. How can I be the best at that now? And so I was like obsessed with it, and only wanted to write songs for mad long. You know what I'm saying? That was it. And then it wasn't until I got out of college, man, and life hit me for real, where I realized that I needed to really figure out the business entrepreneurial side of it all. And I was tired of the hope of, I just want to go viral. If all I gotta do is put out this song, and a label gonna sign me, and then everything else is gonna be up from there, and I'm gonna be a star. That kind of stuff that I feel like a lot of artists just be stuck on. You know what I mean? It's luck, really. They just be hoping they get lucky one day, and that's not. I started realizing that's not how it was gonna go down. I was gonna have to be scrappy and resourceful about it, but I was gonna have to think outside the box, and I was gonna have to be more in control of my destiny, in a sense. And so,
Oh man, that's dope. That's dope. So, Powernomics, that's the most recent thing that you dropped.
yeah. So Powernomics is the first video off my new project, Vongogh. Um, Vongogh is just an extension, a continuation of my last album, which came out last year, which is Heaven and Earthly Places. If anybody notices too, like if you look at my discography, it's like a 4 year gap between like my albums. You got like, I got like my college one. I was like, it came out in 2002, and all my music was always very transparent. I guess I was really inspired by Drake. Drake was 2009, 2010. Him and J. Cole, and so you know, in high school, I had never really saw rap as a real career because I didn't identify with rappers at the time.
Hey,
Um,
real quick, did J Cole ever come to your college?
Yeah, he did. I actually met him when he
Yeah,
came to OU too.
that's lit. That's
So,
lit.
yeah, and he was mad nice too. Like he waited. Uh, I forget. My best friend at the time's brother saw him, and we were in a bar or something. And he came. He saw him, told him to wait, and then went and had to find us. And it took like 15, 20 minutes to find us because there was mad people on campus. And Cole waited the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Waited for literally by himself for my dude's brother to find us and bring us to him just to say what's up. You know, so it was pretty cool. Yeah,
That's what's up. That's
yeah.
what's up. So my fault. To go back to what we was talking about for the J Cole. We was talking
We was
about
talking about just
Drake
like
and
inspiration.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah. Drake and J Cole.
Drake, yeah, but they showed me too. They was talking about relationships and love
Hmm.
and stuff that I could relate to. As an artist, and at the time that was very new. Kanye kind of did it with 808s and heartbreaks, but he was singing and stuff, and they were actually rapping about it. So I thought that was and doing whole albums like that. And so to me, like that's when I saw the, where I fit. That's where I saw where I can do this, and it was just finding my voice. I think that's really important for a lot of artists too, man. It's just finding your voice. What is your story? I used to rap like Lupe, for a minute with just a bunch of big words and so much heavy similes and so many metaphors and so much that it was almost like it was too heavy. You know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, well, I don't think that's my voice, but I got the practice in to be able to do that. I used to rap like Lil Wayne, where I was just trying to just say the most raunchiest stuff I could, and with a little pause in between, bar bar pause or whatever, and then realized that really didn't fit well with me either, and I kind of realized that I like to talk about I like to talk about my life, and I'm a very like introspective person. So um, anybody that follows me on Instagram, they know I get up mad early. I pray. I'm always posting, just stuff about religion. I've always just been curious about religion, um, and I've always just been curious about what it was, and always pondered God. You know what I mean? I always wondered about God and stuff, and then the relationship, having a relationship with Him, but then also how does that affect me in real life? And always wanted to be successful, a successful person. Um, Also, always wanted to be a good person, and always wanted to, you know, go to heaven. You know what I'm saying? And so then it's like, okay, well, what's the balance, and how do I achieve both? And that's always been a conflict of mine my whole life, because I was always, growing up was taught, it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than to get for a camel to get through a needle and stuff like that we take out of context. And it made me afraid to be successful. It made me feel like if I wanted to be wealthy, that means that I had to have sold my soul, or um, basically forfeit my afterlife for this. And so, as a kid now, that kind of like, it affects you, because it affects, one minute I want to be successful and stuff, the next minute like I don't. I want to, I I want the afterlife part, and so I was kind of like going back and forth. So I used to make songs about that. I used to talk about it in my music, and I figured I couldn't have been the only person, especially at my age, that pondered those things. Even though when I looked around, though, it seemed like I was the only person that was really interested in it like that. And everybody else seemed like they was just kind of go with the wind, whatever. I ain't anybody trying to think about all that. It's too deep type stuff. But I've always kind of been on that, even when I was 19, 20. And so what I would have to do is my music would be about that, but I also went to OU, which was at the time was like the number one party school in the country, and so I had to find a balance. And so I remember the first song I made was dorm music, and it was more of a college anthem. Everybody sitting in a dorm, and it was real cheesy, corny. I don't really like the song now, but it was really college boppy, Mac Miller, type of vibes.
That's exactly what it was. I
Yeah,
heard dorm room. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and
It was a vibe though. It was a vibe for what it was
for what it
though.
was and
Yeah,
for the
and for who
time.
it was for it too.
Right, right. And I feel like, I had to do that, and then I dropped a video for it, and then that went viral, on campus and stuff, and then it started spreading to other campuses. Then it got people looking at me like, okay, who is that dude? And then I would release some more deep, more introspective music, like, okay, now that I got you, this is what I really like to talk about. And they were like, okay, that's cool, but like, where's the other dorm music? You know what I'm saying? Like, we need that. And so, I always felt like I was older, uh, a little bit more mature than my age and my peers in that regard. And so then you'll catch, if you listen to my older stuff, I just start talking about more worldly, more stuff that I felt like people wanted to hear from me, and trying to figure out what's the balance between the two, and where's my voice is going to be somewhere in between. It's not all this, but it's not all this either, because I don't always feel, especially when I was in college, I didn't always feel like being religious or thinking about none of that. I was in school, so I still wanted to kick it too. You know what I'm saying? I still wanted to turn up and be accepted by my peers, and be cool, and all of that kind of stuff too. Um, so I always had to kind of find like the both, and what was actually me. You know what I'm saying? What was being authentic and genuine to me. And really, I kind of had like my breakthrough when I realized it's that it's trying to figure it out. It's my story. You know what I'm saying? It is the teetering of both sides. And yeah, I went out and kicked it last night with these girls, and did whatever. But now today I'm hungover and I feel bad about it. And what's that story? You know what I'm saying? And how can that be a song? And who could relate to that message? You know what I'm saying? Where they do bad, and then they feel bad when they do it. And then and um, so that was kind of like my thing, man. And I think that now with the Vongogh album, it's just really what Heaven and Earthly Places. I figured it out. I figured out what how to talk about that in a way that's still appealing, that's still attractive, that's still dope to listen to, that's still wavy. Um, and I feel like Von Gogh is just an evolution to that. I'm also still growing as a person too. I'm always growing. I always felt like as long as you're being true to yourself, and you being true to yourself in your music, all you have to do is work on you, and the music will follow. You don't have to try to do anything. So for me, I don't really try to do music like that. I love my team. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's super dope. I'm inspired by the energy of all the artists that come in and out the studio, and the ones I work with every day. You know what I mean? And so like for me, I'm satisfied with that. I don't necessarily have to do music like that. When I do it, it's because I want to. It's not because I feel like I have to. And I think now that allows me the room to say exactly what I want to say without feeling judged by it. And also for like 30, it's just something wavy about the age 30. Like I know growing up we was always like, nah, 30 is old. So for me, people think that 30 is old, man. But as long as you take care of yourself, and you know what I'm saying, like it don't have to be. And and I think that right now I'm at that perfect balance where I'm allowed to be wise. You know what I'm saying? I have I'm allowed to talk about more serious subjects, and it's not a buzzkill. Or bro, why are you talking about that? Like we 21, why you even care about blah 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 or whatever? You know what I'm saying? I feel like now I'm at that age where I can talk about this, and it's like, oh, okay, he's supposed to talk about that. And I think it also throws people off too when but I can still do that though. And I'm not trying to be anything when I'm doing that. I genuinely can do that. Do anything. I can hop on a dope beat with the dun 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 and talk my stuff, and really snap too. You know what I mean? So for me, I just think this album is about growth. It's about evolution. It's more about what I've been learning um, about myself, spiritually, and being able to put that into a dope sounding project that I think is gonna open a lot of people's minds. It's gonna have people thinking about things I think that they never thought about before, or they wish somebody would have said that before, and because they've always thought about that, but they were always scared to say it out loud. Those type of things. I think that it'll be very explorative, and a great experience, man, for the people that's been following me and listening to my music for a long time and those that never heard me before. So,
No, that's dope. And you're talking about Vongogh, right?
Vongogh, yeah.
What's the status on that project? Cause the stuff I heard,
Yeah, so we
it's
still we
fire.
still we still figuring it out. We on our Donda time right now. We thought we was gonna be done within the next 2 weeks or so.
I ain't gonna lie, I knew you wasn't gonna be done in two
Yeah,
weeks,
but
bro.
really, nah. I got six songs. I'm 6 songs in. Um, I
How
still
many do
need to tighten
you?
those up. I really want to get like 10 to 12 for the project, which means I want to record like 15, 16 tracks and then kind of deduct from there. But yeah, I'm looking at 10 to 12 tracks. So I would say realistically, I think I'm gonna hit another like wave. So October, that's my birthday month too. So October would be a good time. I think it's safe to say.
Okay, so shoot, Vongogh on the way. Heaven and Earthly Places out now, and I
Hmm.
seen something going on with Sam Rothstein.
Yes,
Can you tell
sir.
me what's going on with that?
Uh,
On Wednesday, September 1st?
September 1st. Yep. So Declassify. I'm doing with Sam at Scully's. I like what Sam is doing right now. With the Declassified, it's dope to see him go from the venue he was at before to now a bigger venue, and creating that environment, that platform for a lot of undiscovered artists out of the city to be able to showcase their talents for other artists. And when he reached out to me about it, especially with the timing with me just releasing Powernomics and stuff, I haven't done a show in a long time.